this wasn't spontaneous combustion, and in a certain sense it was. Because I was standing there looking, I said, there's something missing. Standing down outside the House of Representatives, outside in the Capitol, and looking at Iolani Palace, said, there's something missing. The Queen is missing. You know, now between Iolani Palace and the building of the Capitol and statehood, you know, there's a lot of history, and not all of it happy, not all of it pleasant to think about, not all of it. It can bring tears and as well as joy. I mean, things change. The Queen understood that, but something's missing. She was missing, and I thought she's here. She wants to be here. She should be here.
I think it was a great idea. You know, up until then, there was only the statue of King Kamehameha across the street at the Liliuokalani Hale, and having that desire to represent the spirit of Hawaii at the Capitol through some kind of sculpture or statue was, I think, a big step towards recognizing the history of Hawaii and how it transitioned from monarchy to statehood. I think that was a brilliant concept by Representative Abercrombie at the time.
Well, in some respects, I was less the originator of the legislation than I was the vehicle for it. Once people accepted the idea that the Queen's physical presence in the manner of a statue would be a reality, then it became very important as to who would choose the person that would do that and what the statue would be, although I always felt it had to be a literal representation. This was not an abstraction or a creation that would be symbolic in itself, like Father Damien's statue, St. Damien's statue at the front of the Capitol. It needed to be literal. So Andy Agi Kobe and other prominent Hawaiian figures helped to put the committee together, and they met, and there was a lot of ho'oponopono, a lot of give and take, and goodwill exhibited. Very definite opinions were issued, but always with the idea of coming to a conclusion, and I think it manifested itself brilliantly.
They were really responsible for conducting the program, the project, and the State Foundation was there to support them administratively. And I happened to be the lowly staff person who, you know, set up things, set up the maquettes when they came in, cleaned up afterwards, and generally helped with the organization and you know, with carrying out that project. The jury was recommended by Alfred Price. The members were recommended by Alfred Price in consultation with a lot of local resources, especially the Hawaiian community, the Hawaiian civic clubs and whatnot. And he had to get that approved by the State Foundation Board, go through the budget director, and the governor had final approval. The governor appointed the jury members. You got to look at the names on that jury. It's really a who's who. Gladys Brandt. Well, you got to look at the names. I can't remember them off the top of my head. But Princess Pomai was on it. Ana Nakoa. He had historians from UH. Just very, top drawer. You know, all of these Hawaiian people were real knowledgeable in Hawaiian history or the Queen, so they were picked for those reasons, and as well as representing, you know, the major organizations. The proposals initially were. It was an open international competition, so people were just invited to submit their portfolios. and it was reviewed by a group of people on the jury and whittled down a couple of times. And then the final 5 were asked to submit their designs along with the budget. And Mariana Pineda's model was selected as the one to commission. She was nice. I didn't, get to talk with her personally very much, so I don't know. But she was always polite and very cordial and determined to, carry out her vision.
I don't ever recall meeting her either. No. I saw her. I think yes, but it was just recognition. I wanted to stay out of the picture, and I didn't want anybody ever saying that I tried to influence it, or I wanted very much for the integrity of the process not to be questioned in any way. So I stayed away from it.
She was, I think, a true professional. She approached it like one of the old school realist artists would. She just immersed herself into the Queen's life, did study after study. It's unreal. She was very detail oriented, and a lot of good work came out of her research. It's just so impressive to me. She was one of probably the most professional artists I ever worked with. I know there's a lot of controversy over it, but the Queen is so highly revered by everyone.
It was less about the statue, but more about where she should be. That created a bit of a controversy, and I was very adamant about that. Is that this wasn't, you didn't get to come in after the fact and start claiming that you were going to put the statue any place but other than as the bridge between Liliuokalani Palace and the Capitol. So that was a little dust up, and it didn't amount to anything.
Mariana was very thoughtful about the location and the pose and the setting, and was just involved from start to finish very deeply. I wasn't privy to their discussions with the artist. All I know is, what came out of it. I was there for site selection when we walked around the entire Capitol and settled on the place where it's located now.
What was brilliant was, and I don't think anybody at the time fully comprehended how brilliant it was going to be, was the gesture, if you will, of the Queen reaching out from where she is in the base towards the Capitol. Because you'll find, and I'm sure if you take the cameras down there, even right now, there'll be flowers in her hand, the hand that's gesturing, the hand almost welcoming, allowing, indicating that she's here always, and gesturing to us that the future is yours. It's up to you to carry on my legacy. It's really a brilliant, more than a gesture. It manifests what I believe is the character and spirit of the Queen. No question in my mind about that. It's thrilling to see that deliberately or otherwise, that she is by this gesture, by the manner in which she is placed there, is saying, the future is yours. Remember me. Remember what I stood for. Remember the values that I manifested as Queen.
The reception at the dedication was just overwhelming. Well, it was an unveiling, so there was a lot of build-up to it. We had put a big tarp over the statue after it was, as soon as it was installed, so nobody could see it, and nobody could take a photograph of it and put it on the cover. Plus the drape wouldn't come off with the first tug, so it was like, and then it came out, I was like, ah. And so when it was unveiled, there was a big gasp from the audience. I think everybody was like, wow, it's awesome. The dedication was a day-long affair. It started out at the statue of the Queen, and then we went over to Washington Place and continued. It was just fabulous.
You know, I've been involved in so many things, controversial and otherwise, in over 5 decades in electoral politics. That was my first legislative venture, if you will, the bill, and I guess of almost anything, it gives me a very deep sense of satisfaction. In this sense, that I was given an opportunity to do something good, right, by being in the legislature, and this is something that I know. When I pass from the scene, that I use my opportunity to the best advantage. I'm very, very happy with it, because the Queen will always be there, and she will always be saying to us that there's a legacy here. Not necessarily a happy one, always, not one devoid of controversy, not one that's everybody's agreed upon in terms of impact. But she was a seminal figure in Hawaii's history and set a standard that very few of us can live up to in terms of aloha, in terms of character, in terms of the spirit of aloha. But she's there to remind us of that. The generations that will come after you and I have passed from the scene will say, who was that? What was that about? And I think there'll always be flowers there in her hand, the symbol of aloha, of love and respect and the honorable thing and the common good. That gives me a great sense of peace and satisfaction.